And Kira likes it. Kira likes Daddy's beard. So, as you can see by the title of the video, this is an advanced Q&A. What does that mean? Advanced Q&A. And I'm utterly certain I'm going to have to repeat this a couple of times. But basically what it means is this is for relatively advanced questions about space weather, magnetic pole shift, micronova, cosmology, any of the stuff we talk about, even earthquake prediction science and pre-seismic electromagnetic signals. But we're going to try to keep this to the advanced questions. And I will simply I'll simply say that if you don't have an advanced question or you have a more basic question, your resources are right down there below the video, a homework to get caught up so that you can ask advanced questions. Sound good? Make sense? And hopefully, by just ignoring all of the non-advanced questions, we may have a desalinated, salt-free live show today. All right, so somebody just asked me why I'm not doing this on Rumble, because I don't want to. I don't feel like it. What's up, Joe? How's it going? Thank you for the teal pair. Got a lot of folks coming on here by the minute. Yeah, I see somebody just mentioned that. Anybody who follows me on X, aka Twitter, by the way, King Wacky, thank you for the teal pair. Appreciate that. Yeah, I just posted an image from SDO of the sunspots that are incoming right now. And woo! Hello. Serious. Oh. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Denver sucks in the chat. Denver sucks or free top G. Either one of those works. Okay. So, let's see what kind of advanced questions we got. That's a legit question. Somebody said, how cold do I think it will get as the sun goes red then black? I don't think that that's what's going to cause the cold, because the ultraviolet will actually still be relatively enhanced even while the visible spectrum is not. And the dust that is accumulating in the corona will re-emit X-rays and UV as infrared waves. It's really not until the micronova comes and that dusty shell is actually in between us and the sun and then polluting the upper atmosphere that Earth will cool off very quickly. That's a legit question right there. Well done. Kent, thank you for the teal pair. Fantastic. I guess this is a fine time to mention it again. Everything that I mentioned at the start. Daniel Jansen, the Van Allen belts. Yes, I've talked about them many times. And what do you mean their deadliness? No, they're not. So everything I mentioned at the start of the show, if you've just shown up here, yes, No Shave November is still in full swing. And today is an advanced Q&A. If you don't have an advanced question, if you feel like you're still a beginner or still learning things, right down there below the video in the description box, that's your homework. That'll get you caught up. Heath, thank you for the teal pair. Appreciate that. Quite a number of teal pairs to kick off the day. But the idea is we're going to try to keep this to the more advanced questions, and I'm going to do my best to ignore everything else to try to keep this one slightly less salty than before. The Dobermans. Yeah, I suppose you think you're being funny. Yeah. Trying to talk about flat Earth is a good way to get yourself banned around here. I don't put up with that kind of stupidity. How was your opening? What opening? I don't know. Did I have some kind of opening I don't know about? Are there geologic or paleoclimatologic data that show patterns in the severities of the disaster cycles? Yes, I have mentioned this before, but that's a legit question. I haven't mentioned it recently. Let's get to that again. So, we never seem to have two of the really bad cycles in a row. So, the one 72,000 years ago, really bad, really bad. Then 60,000 years ago, it was still bad, but it wasn't as bad. Lachamps was pretty bad, but Mono Lake and Lake Mungo after that weren't as bad. Gothenburg 12,000 years ago was pretty darn bad. Hopefully this one will not be as bad. That would be quite nice. But yeah, about the only pattern in the severities is that we don't get two of the really, really bad ones in a row, one cycle following the next. Matthew says, filament size and numerosity seems increased as of late, evidence of denser dust arriving. Thoughts? To be honest, we've spent the majority of this sunspot cycle at lower than average plasma filament frequency and thickness and size. We are now more like what it looked like at the peak of the last sunspot maximum and the one before. So I would say no, that probably isn't having to do with the galactic current sheet or extra dust arriving. We are just actually finally starting to look like sunspot maximum. Hope that helps. Barefoot Gardener, what's up? Hey, Ben, regarding Heinrich events, how much colder do temperatures get compared to now? They're pretty much all different. It's a good question. Some of them, it's a pretty solid, 5, 6, 8 degree drop over the entire globe. Some of them really only 2 to 3 degrees. Of course, that's still double all of the so-called global warming we've had thus far. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Ben, please say yins. Thanks and happy Thanksgiving. For those who don't understand that comment, I am from Pittsburgh, where they have a very specific dialect. Yinserdom. Yinzer speak Pittsburghese. You may have heard it before. Yins going downtown to watch them Steelers play. Dude, they're so bad this year. How you going to play your rival, the Cleveland Browns, who just lost their main starting quarterback, and you just get lit up like that? That's pathetic. Jagoffs. So for yins that don't know, that's Pittsburghese. Why James Webb Telescope never take a picture of Earth? Why would it take a picture of Earth? That doesn't make any sense. How does the moon's position relative to Earth affect solar events? It doesn't. Do you feel safe in Arizona? Well, that's an easy question. I'm not in Arizona. Guys, we're not doing a good job with the advanced questions so far. So far, we've had just a couple. Global rumblings. Thank you very much. All right, how about that one? How's a galactic current sheet crossing at the Earth power of disruptions at our relative position to the ecliptic? Watch coordinator, I don't understand what you just said there. Does the sun's activity have much to do with the earthquakes and volcanoes occurring lately? You mean the ones that are far, far below average? No. Earthquakes are way below average. Volcanoes are increased compared to last year and the year before. But if you're looking over decades, we are still way below average. There is an average of 20 to 40 active erupting volcanoes on the surface and over 100 under the ocean. That's the average. So when you see, there's 4 or 5 volcanoes going off and people are talking about, look at this massive volcanic uptick. No. No. Did I ever talk about the carbon parts per million? Ooh, where did you come from? Wendy, thank you for the teal pair. I need things like that considering the lack of advanced questions. Are the Aurora events lately in line with your timeline predictions? More or less. I did kind of think that. I'm all right. So if you had said, Ben, we are going to shatter our low latitude auroral record, we're going to have it 5, 6 times in 1 year. When do you think that'll happen? I would have guessed solar cycle 26. But if someone had said, no, I guarantee you it's solar cycle 25, I would have been like, okay. So there's that. Wow, look at how fast the questions are coming in. I can't even read them this quickly. Do you think there are events that happen on an even longer scale we haven't been able to calculate yet? I mean, we know of several longer cycles. There's actually a 27 million year cycle as well. Thankfully, that one is not up because that one's bad. Hi, Ben. Pole shift fall of 2027. Where are you getting this? If you're going to type something like that, at least put in the source. Whatever moron told you that that's when it was going to happen. So if you have access to Jesus, please let me know. That would really save me time in terms of reading hundreds of papers a week and doing math and other things like that. So I don't think much of people trying to guess the exact timing. What's your opinion on the red heifer situation and its relation to the Great Reset and the Great Reset's relation to this upcoming cataclysm? I don't know. I think that might be like a self-fulfilling thing. Like they probably bred that red heifer to be that way. It's not like some random anomaly. And I don't put as much weight on things like that as other people. So I can't really say I think too much of that red heifer situation. I am aware of it. Joe Peterson, hello again. During a micronova, the estimated time to shelter to protect from the sun's radiation is weeks, months, a year. No, I would say, I mean, I'm not planning on spending more than a couple days at most at a time in my underground shelter. When the sun turns red, I'm going to look at it, appreciate it, then I'm going underground. Within just a couple of days, the micronova is going to happen. And when you feel everything start to shake, that's when you get out from underground, just in case the thing you're underground in collapses from that shaking. Afterwards, you want to get underground when there's mega hailstorms, super wind, major temperature changes, things like that. Ken Smith, has anyone charted the visible light frequency of the sun over time? In the 60s, I remember very yellow sun. Today, a much whiter light frequency. I don't think anybody's charted it from a qualitative perspective. We've discussed it several times. I have a video on YouTube here called Who Remembers the Yellow Sun? If you haven't seen that one, Ken Smith, you might want to check it out. It's not bad. People seem to like it. Laura, thank you for the teal pair. Makes me happy. Carafon, what's up, my friend? Not sure how good a question, but how do you explain the Noah event only happening in that part of the earth when the flip event affects the whole? Who says it only happened in that part of the earth? There's evidence of the hydroclimate event across the entire world. That was, and obviously in the Middle East and Northeast Africa, it was a big deal. The data on the magnetic excursion during that time comes from China, far eastern Russia, and Korea. Not to mention the fact that, I mean, there absolutely is evidence from all over the world. Glad you asked that question. I don't know if maybe somebody else had that as well, but no, the Noah event was absolutely seen all over the world, for certain. Meant the Noah flood. I mean, it's the same thing. Same thing. That's why I call it the Noah event. Other parts of the world did flood as well, but not every part of the world floods. Some get fire. Clicking it. Do homework. Noah flood was worldwide. Almost worldwide. It was in a lot of places worldwide. But if your homework on that is the Bible says the whole earth flooded, look what's around my neck. I'm a believer. Most of you know this. But I also know how many books were removed. I know what the Council of Nicaea did, and I understand that that text was written by humans, not God, and it has been in the hands of humans who want control over other humans for more than 1,000 years. Both of those things can exist at the same time. You can recognize the fact that maybe some hanky-panky was played with the Bible over the time and still believe. They're not mutually exclusive. Spencer, what do you got here for me? Oh, scroll too far. If the ice weight of Greenland is what shifts the crust when it's unlocked during the main event, what puts Greenland in its current position as today in the next 12,000 year event? Because when the world goes like this, on the north and south, new ice will accumulate. Now, how the ice manages to accumulate in such a way to tilt back to pretty much the same places over and over again, that's an open question. But that is what the evidence suggests happens. But in terms of why Greenland would go back, I mean, the new North and South poles are going to accumulate ice for whenever it is that the crust is unlocked next time. Laura, thank you for the teal pair. Appreciate that. Somebody's username is Hunter Biden's laptop. The beard, though, going to give you your flowers, Ben. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to last much longer. Really don't know. Priscilla, yes, Enoch tells a lot more about it. The Book of Enoch. If you are a believer, you need to read the Gnostic texts. If you're not a believer, you need to read the Gnostic text. There's a lot of good information in there. Will Canada get warm after a while in its new position? Yes. The globe animation showed it resting in what seems to be a tropical area. Yes. Oof. Having trouble keeping up with all the super chats here. Rob Jones, we have Southern Aurora now. What is the next sign we will see or experience that shows the magnetic poles have weakened even more? To be honest, the auroras are some of the best ones. It will take them a while to publish information on the ionosphere, polar summer mesospheric echoes, things like that. Crazier activity in the jet streams, if that is something that's happening, I would say that's a pretty good signal as well. I can't tell you there's a better one than the auroras, though. It's definitely the best thing to be looking at. Thank you for the question, Rob. You looked at the Xinjiang region of China, same hallmarks of a flood like the proposed Atlantis region. Also, GG getting another InfoWars shout out. I did hear that I got a shout out on InfoWars. That's nice. That's nice of them. It was probably Greg Reese. I didn't go and check it out. But if Greg Reese or Alex Jones would like to chat, I'm here. Wouldn't mind talking to Joe Rogan either, but he doesn't seem very interested. Lowrider, thank you for the teal pair. Makes me happy. Makes me smile. And Priscilla, thank you for that. That's cute. Laura, any updates to the weakening of the magnetosphere? No, not other than the ones I've given. The latest update I gave was just about 2-3 weeks ago with the auroral activity. They're not giving us numbers. I can guesstimate best I can, but they're not giving us any data on the numbers. They do regularly update the magnetic pole positions as they're shifting, but not on the actual strength of the magnetic field, which is why we have to rely on looking at things like aurora. Fair question, though. Nathaniel, appreciate you. Thank you. That's a good point. If I went on Joe Rogan, I would get some serious crosshairs. Serious crosshairs. Nebulosity, thank you for muting that comment, but I will just go ahead and say, we do not have a binary star. There is nothing incoming into the solar system. Planet X, Nibiru, no, not real. I will admit, when I heard the story for the first time, I was entranced. It is absolutely magical. Probably the most entertaining and imaginative story that there is out there. The problem is, it's just not so. It's just not a real thing. It's not there. Estimation of fatalities. I suppose you're asking about humans. I would like to think it's possible that 5 to 10% of humans could survive this. It's possible it might not be that bright and shiny. And as that comes out of my mouth, I realize that 90% of humans dying isn't exactly bright and shiny. But it is a concern. Our globalized world, our dependence on the electric systems that we have, heat, water distribution, food. A lot depends on electricity, unfortunately. I swear I witnessed the aurora borealis in central Illinois, mid to late 40s. Am I as crazy as some have suggested? No. I think it was 1947 or 1948. There was a low latitude auroral event at that time. Mega sunspot came around. I think that one was actually on the list in that video a couple weeks ago. But so no, I mean, if we're talking about the same thing, yeah, absolutely. The Saturn cube portal, question mark. The seventh gate is real, question mark. That's where Bean loses me. 1, explain. 2, spell my name right. We're not going to be salty today. We're not going to be salty today. Trying. PJ Carson, reread what you typed there and try that again. Any substance to expanding Earth theories, the one that have both expansion and contraction, Earth breathes. All right. I suppose it's worth mentioning this again. The two things I mentioned at the start of the show. First, yes, I am still doing No Shave November. Not sure how I feel about it, but some of you guys seem to like it. And of course, if you guys like it, I'll keep it. Secondly, this is advanced Q&A, trying to really hone in and focus on those more advanced questions. If you're like, hey, wait a minute, but I just got here. I don't have an advanced questions. I'm still basic. I'm still learning. Go watch down below the video in the description box. Those first 2 links are your homework. Please do them. Please do that homework. Question, does induction during the micronova cause metal tools to melt and deform? It's possible. It's very possible. Can't guarantee it's a yes or it's a no, but it's worth worrying about. Certainly. Mm. Make sure I didn't miss any super chats there. I think I did miss some super chats there. Okay. How cold can we expect to get post-event, and how long will it last? Doug makes it sound unsurvivable, but clearly it is. Correct. Doug is wrong about this. Should we be preparing for 12 months blizzard? No. Just a couple weeks. Because in the wake of the solar micronova, which causes the cooling, the corona is cleared and the surface of the sun is reorganizing. Phenomenally ultraviolet active. It will heat the Earth back up pretty quickly into something of a golden age. JC Warlock, think I'm alone on this. I think black holes are just super dense mass, but the rotation speed of said mass is higher than its gravity. Maybe. That'd be a good question for Dr. Robitaille. Lillian, hi, Ben. Can I still invest in the ranch? I won't be answering ranch questions really, but if you have a question about investing at the ranch or being part of the ranch, go to observerranch.com and send us a message through the contact. Observerranch.com, find the contact function, and send us a message there. Observerranch.com. Okay. Make sure I didn't miss any others. And almost up to date. Bender Bending Rodriguez. Nice name. Would a golden crown protect the brain from the magnetic waves coming in that make people lose it? I wonder if past rulers who wore them were the only ones who could think properly. Gold's going to reflect electromagnetic waves, that's for sure. Not sure about induction or overall magnetism. But yeah, I think there's a reason why gold has been so prominently important. I was watching the Top G Piers Morgan interview, but saw you were live, so here I am. Much love from South Georgia. Yeah, I plan on watching that a little bit later. I do plan on watching that a little bit later. Shelly, thank you. Keep talking, everyone. Yes, everybody keep talking. Advanced questions, please. GC Warlock, instead of no nut November, how about wankless winter? Jesus. Last chat, keep it up, chat. All right. The only thing I'm going to say about that is I'm not a fan of the no nut November idea, unless your primary option for that these days is porn, in which case do no nut November and stop watching porn. For real. And since I continually have this comment for mostly men, women, stop spending so much time on Instagram and Facebook. Seriously. Instagram, Facebook, and dating apps have destroyed women's perception in the exact same way that porn has destroyed men's. Both sides. It's legit. You got dudes expecting porn star quality stuff at every instance. On the women's side, you got soft fours thinking they're tens due to over simping by desperate dudes. Ugh! Ben, any opinion on Norman Berggren's The Ringmakers of Saturn? Denver sucks. Yes, it does suck. I have no idea who Norman is. There does seem to be a bit of Saturn worship amongst the, quote, elites. What it means exactly, people have lots of guesses, but I don't think we really know. Okay, I missed one there. Ladybug says, morning, Ben, maybe for you. How far inland can the tsunamis travel? South Coast, Australia. It is morning for you. Has 1,000 mountain range. Do we stand a chance? Some of the peaks in Australia will probably stay dry. The inertial wave and the sloshback both have a chance to go all the way across that continent in the lowest areas, though. Australia and New Zealand scare me. I'm curious how you might reconcile how Saturn or any of the ring planets keep its rings from micronova. Are you envisioning a micronova being like a wall of rock coming and just sweeping things away? Planets can't get knocked out of orbit. The rings are going to be, probably somewhat protected by the planet's fields. And who's to say what those planets looked like before the last micronova? Maybe it captured material. Maybe the rings were much grander before. Fascinating intellectual conversations to have, but we can't really know. Fair question, though. All right. Do you have an older vehicle that won't be affected by the EMP? Any recommendations? Who's going to tell him? Who's going to tell him? Varkin, look in the chat. Somebody tell him. Why didn't I think of an EMP-proof vehicle? How could I miss such an obviously good idea? Fabio, it says your message was retracted. Now I'm curious what it was. Dude, moderator's sniping everyone today. Stormy, your trigger finger getting a little tired there. Did you see that Alexander Unzicker wrote a book called The Liquid Sun that agrees with Dr. Robitaille's view that the surface of the sun is liquid metallic hydrogen? Yes, I did see that. Thank you. I support it. Is it possible that volcanoes, magma are responsible for helping to heat the water? Maybe. I hear dumber ideas on a daily basis. Put it that way. Whether or not, I honestly, Priscilla, could not tell you definitively yes or no. Is it possible that they are a piece of that puzzle? Sure, it's possible. Do we know where the new deserts will arise, or will the jet stream have to reestablish? Oof, that's an excellent question. And no, we do not know where the new deserts will be. Boy, would that be helpful information, huh? It's a good guess. It's legit. Okay. I scrolled too far. Got to go back. Hi, can a coal motorbike be used for moving? A coal motorbike. That's I am unfamiliar with that concept. Like you literally shove coal into the engine of a motorbike. That sounds awesome. If you have one of those, make a YouTube channel immediately. Arc discharge tsunami height if it hits the Pacific. 100 feet, 200 feet. It's hard to say. 400 feet. I do believe the arc discharge is going to hit the Pacific, and that's going to be rough. That's going to be so brutal. Oceania, North and South America, Kamchatka, Japan. It's going to be rough. That's going to be rough. Kamchatka will already be in a rough spot because literally that place is just littered with volcanoes and they're all going to go off. But yeah. Do you Coke before you go live? I don't do drugs and I don't drink Coca-Cola, so the answer is no. But thanks for asking. Would a rubber-lined container keep the electronics safe? Maybe. Look at this. What about Japan? ? What is your question? What do you mean, what about Japan? What are you asking me? Hawaii? ? What is your question? Okay. Desalinate. Desalinate. Any impact on large metal structures like bridges and buildings? Yeah, probably. Probably. Do you think the galactic current sheet and the planetary disasters it causes help explain the Fermi paradox? Eh, maybe. I also think there's lots of evidence that they've been here and they're still here now. I'm not sure the Fermi paradox actually has any teeth, especially if this place is a designated nursery or zoo, neither which would shock me. Is there any evidence for or insights on ocean landmass heat circulation patterns once the crust shifts? Ecliptics, that is a fantastic question, but no. It's really challenging to even think about modeling something like that. And right around the time you realize that would be too hard to even try to model without access to like a supercomputer or anything, you remember that some of the land is going to rise, some of the land is going to fall. And so you couldn't even look at the globe today, tilt it to the exact spot, and be able to do those precise calculations. Outstanding comment, though. I want to give you credit on that, but unfortunately, it's tough. How good was the Top G interview with Pierce? Yo, do not ruin that. I'm going to watch it later. Don't ruin that for me. Free Top G. Free Top G. Ben, can I post a link in the chat? You may try. I don't know if that's going to work. Nice Jesus piece, Ben. It is. There's actually two of them on here. Can you see the littler one? 10 points if you know why there's two on there. That's how Machu Picchu got so high up, it was pushed up. Yes. 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 Exactly right. When you look at Machu Picchu, it's hard to think like this because you're dumbfounded at everything else about it. But also, all the evidence suggests that these people were living like very close to the ocean. Like this was like, oh, I'm going to go swimming. Oh, let me just take a little 5-minute jog over. That's not the case now. Machu Picchu was much lower and it got blasted upward in the probably in mantle heaving, pushing that part of the crust upward. Excellent comment. You scared me. I was on Insta looking for cameras. What? What? Hypothetical here. You live in New York. That's a bad start. Have 3 40-foot containers with what you think you'll require. Ready to head west to the New Valley of Sun. When to depart. That's tough. You know, the sun could take, I mean, we got some big sunspots coming around. The sun could take out global power tomorrow. Or the solar activity could be benign to us until the micronova, and we might have until the 2040s. I'm never going to sit here and tell everyone, guys, bug out now. Not when we might have a long time, not when it's not a great idea to just leave your job and leave your friends and family and go try to start something somewhere new on a whim. But I understand the question, certainly. Laura says, big hugs, Ben. Deep breaths. Thank you for all you and Kat do. Deep breaths indeed. What are your thoughts on Betelgeuse and will it affect us? Very little thoughts on Betelgeuse. It had a dust production micronova event. It is not going to blow up. And even if it did, at 600 light years away, it wouldn't affect us. It wouldn't affect us. But yeah, everyone online talking about like, when's Betelgeuse going to blow? It already did. it did something very similar to what we expect the sun to do. Betelgeuse dimmed, and then it re-brightened as the dust shell was blasted off of it. Oh, and I scrolled too far because I'm bad at this. Hey, Ben. What's up, Liz? How you doing? I know Apophis won't hit us, but will we get blasted by a debris trail? I don't know if it has a debris tail. It might. I have no idea. When we get hit by the micronova, will it be hard to grow food with the effed up atmosphere? Probably not once the golden age reemerges. Have you heard of perestroika deception? No, I have not heard of that. I don't know what that is. Sounds sinister. Oh, look. So both from the stories that exist in India and other places, and from the simple fact that plants, animals, people don't go extinct during these events. I mean, yeah, some species go extinct, but the vast majority do not. It tells us that the worst of the worst doesn't last all that long, and something of a golden age, as described in some of the stories, follows immediately thereafter. Appreciate your ID of 1947 as the year of my auroral sighting, according to the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, volume 108, page 123. I'm not crazy at all. Right on. I don't think anybody called you crazy. At least not here. Ben, I was going to ask you a question about sodium, but then I was like, nah. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Every time you go salty, I'm over here singing. Nah, yeah, that's very cute, Joe. I like that. Nah, Na, sodium. Intelligent commentary. Cheers. Any thoughts on the New Madrid fault release on Ohio and Mississippi rivers and potential impact in Indiana, Kentucky? When New Madrid goes, it's going to shake the bejesus out of the central United States. It's going to be rough. Specific impact on Indiana and Kentucky? Probably significant. Probably significant. I don't exactly advocate living in those two places to begin with, but direct to your question. Okay. Suzanne says, I'm looking for cameras in my home now. What? I'm looking. Oh, I get it, Suzanne. Okay. I understand. Thanks, Ben. Pray for Iceland. Blessings. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. This volcano still hasn't gone off, has it? Captain Ron, thank you for the flying teal pair. Appreciate that. Da, 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 da. Rob says, if when we get a kill shot, will our homes catch on fire, even with how electric is installed today, like the telegraph wires in the Carrington event? There's a very good chance every electrified building will catch on fire. There is a chance. Every single one of them is at risk. It's a sad fact of where we are. I need an INO window cling. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. Pete Benson, it was great to see you on Saturday, my friend. Thank you for the teal pair. Appreciate that. Can you give a shout out to all of us Brits that are going to be under the sea for a while? Just did. There we go. PJ Carson, so you really don't believe me? Regarding what? What are you talking about? You know what? Just because, even though I don't have a damn clue what you're saying, just because, no, I don't believe you. Ben the Beninator. I like that, Westy. Thank you. Hi, Ben. I understand the precision principle of the gyro that will occur when Earth flips. Any chance the axis of rotation would leave other lands at the North Pole other than the Indian Ocean? The new geographic North and South poles are pretty solid. Um, if you go and you do the homework, those videos, and I go over this a lot in the new book, which should be shipping out to you guys here very shortly. There's too many coincidences, all pointing to those new locations. In fact, more than any rational human should ignore. Hopefully that's helpful. Oh, here we go. PJ Carson. I've asked you 1,000 times. 1,000? Really? 1,000 times? What the objects are that I'm taking pictures of out beyond the Soho. You're taking the pictures or Soho's taking the pictures? I don't understand what you're asking me. I will tell you this. Planets and stars, background stars, are very, very visible. Cosmic ray hits, proton hits, dust hits, all of those things are visible on Soho. Have you taken any time to read the Soho documentation and learn what you're actually looking at? Or did you just see something you didn't instantly recognize and start freaking out on the internet and asking me questions? Do your homework. And yes, if you're going to be like this, I am going to make fun of you. Crazy thought, but even with a 15-degree change in latitude with the equatorial bulge in mind, wouldn't that be 2,000-foot sea level change somewhere? Depends. Because it's not just the sea that bulges, the crust bulges as well. So if the crust is reorienting up and down, who's to say how much of a change it would be? There's really no way to know. Like you're thinking, Warlock. But again, that's one of the ones where there's just too many variables to know. D Fresh, thank you for the teal pair. Makes me happy. PJ Carson, I'm seeing these things. No. They're objects. You can do this every night. What are you talking about? What makes you think, first of all, that I don't study every satellite image that comes up? What makes you think you know more about those things than I do? Go ahead. Have I mentioned that Denver sucks? It is a satanic liberal hellhole. Does Yellowstone blow? No. And that is not an advanced question. Emotional dysregulation, Ben, deep breath. Okay, well, for those of you who forgot or weren't paying attention, let me remind everyone why I am harsh on purpose during these. One, you guys need to get your shit together. You need to be doing your homework. You need to be paying attention to the things that come out, especially since this seems to be so important to you. Why be lazy with it? I do want to light a little bit of a fire underneath you. The other reason I do it is because I love seeing who's a snowflake, who can't handle a little bit of roughness on a live stream. You know why? I can look right at them and be like, my goodness, when the sun turns red, you are. If you can't handle a little bit of roughness in this back and forth, if you can't handle somebody chopping your nuts off for saying something stupid, what's your plan during the micronova? Now, if you all don't mind, can we get back to the advanced questions, ergo the title of this video, please? I don't like this beard. I'm just going to say it right now. This no shave November thing, I don't know. The only thing I like about it is the seamless transition. You can't really tell where the sideburns. That's kind of G. It's G right there. But I don't know if I like it. The movie Day After Tomorrow is my favorite. Right on. It's not bad. I like the first half hour or so of the movie The Core. That's a good one. Right up until the unobtainium and they take the ship into the center of the earth. And they completely wave bye-bye to reality. Kevin, thank you for the teal pair. Makes me happy. Somebody wrote Lumberjack Ben. I can't even say anything, though, because in addition to the beard, I've got this going on. I can't call it. Lumberjack Ben. Fair play. Fair play. I have nothing I can say. How will Micronova impact wireless power? Anything that uses wireless or wired power is going to be fried and destroyed, so it really doesn't matter. Would you consider doing more spaces on X? It really seemed to filter out the stupid. Nancy, I'm guessing you may have caught the live space I did a couple of days ago. Now, that one wasn't actually mine. I just joined somebody else's. That was fun. I enjoyed it. I don't know how to do a space myself, but I liked the space. It was fun. Will the mass of the sun reduce? No. Because it's not the shell that gets blasted off is not made of solar material. It's dust and gas and other things that are coming with the galactic current sheet. That's a legit question right there. Scrolling. Did you buy a ship, Captain? How can you be sure about a golden age? What if this is the end for good? What makes you even ask that question, Patricia? Do you have any evidence at all to suggest that this is the end for good? I don't. What I do have is extremely reliable patterns throughout history and some pretty solid math and scientific observations about now. They suggest this will be a disaster cycle, but not the end of everything. Where there is death, there is also new life. It's my favorite quote from Floki, by the way, in Vikings. Oh, I missed some super chats. All right, so we're going to go back. Jack says Graham Hancock sucks and Denver sucks. Just, can I heart your thing there? Yes. All right. Thank you, Jack. I agree. What will happen with UV effects during the excursion? The biggest thing is the ozone destruction as the magnetic field continues to weaken will allow more and more ultraviolet light in. I would say that's the most concerning, if I had to guess. Ben, could the 6,000-year small cycle be due to our being at the equilibrium point halfway between current sheet waves? This is exactly what I've said. So we've got the undulating current sheet, right? How do I do this? All right, so just picture. All right. We've come out of one wave. We're still closer to this magnetic field. When we hit the 6,000-year mark, now we're closer to this magnetic field, and the other magnetic fields begin to have a stronger. If you can visualize, and I know that that was just an utterly atrocious way of doing that, but if this is one half of a waveform right there, when you get to the 6,000-year mark, you are halfway between, and you start to be more affected by the next fields as opposed to the previous fields. It's my top hypothesis about the 6,000 year half cycles in between. Absolutely. Kudos, Bradley. Susie, hello. Thank you for the teal pair. Suzanne, buying solar chargers, would that be beneficial? How are you going to stop them from frying in the major event? The solar panels and batteries are two of the most vulnerable things. I am preparing for pre-industrial, no electricity society. But hey, maybe you know better than I do. Michael, isn't the green comet caused by nickel? I don't think we really know. I think that the green glow can come from a carbon compound. Heck, in theory, when you oxidize copper, it turns green, but I don't think it's getting oxidized out there. It's a good question. I can't give you a definitive answer, Michael. Nathaniel, thank you. Appreciate it. Every new beginning comes with some other beginning's end. I seem to remember that song. Ben, does the Earth's rotation slow or stop during the event? No. I don't get how the impactors will hit only specific regions. I didn't say the impactors will hit only specific regions. I said the micronova shell will hit a specific region. There will probably be minor impactors all over the world as we spin. And no, we don't slow down or stop our rotation. It's another thing Doug Vogt is wrong about. Compression of the ionosphere causing a higher concentration of nitrogen down to the lower atmosphere. Cause for quick cooling event. I've heard dumber ideas. I can't sit here, Warlock, and tell you, yes, that is definitive. But it's interesting. You're thinking with your head, put it that way. Oh, Nebulosity just answered that comet question. Dicarbon, which is C2. Yeah, that was one of the answers I gave, right? A carbon compound. I would trust Nebulosity on this one. Nebulosity is relatively on point. Ben, what gauge of wire to ground a Faraday cage? I have zero faith in Faraday cages. Zero. Not with the level of power that's coming here. Gauge of wire. How thick is a basketball hoop pole that you stick in the ground? I put a copper coin on the outside of my plasma globe and left it for like a month. It appears the ions from the copper turned the inside gas green. Ooh, that's an interesting comment, Warlock. You got photos or video of that? That'd be cool. Who takes charge after this? Do our pathetic governments rise from their bunkers and resume power, or do we all decide to take over and run our own lives? I'm thinking it's going to be relatively chaotic for quite some time. Without revealing any proprietary data, when going underground, would you suggest building an old-time root cellar deep enough to avoid the rays versus building something with metal in it? First of all, do not build something with metal in it. And you're not going underground to avoid the rays or the induction. That's not what going underground is for. You're going underground to avoid the direct radiation impact from a micronova But I mean, that's only really going to flash burn a quarter of the planet. And after that, you're going under the ground because of weather. It's extremely cold. It's extremely windy. Mega lightning storms. Super hail. That's the overarching reason to go underground. No, I would not put a whole bunch of metal in it. And while it would block cosmic rays, it certainly would not block induction. In fact, the deeper you go, the worse induction is. So there's that. Do you plan on trying to view the excursion, shell impact, or the Four Horsemen in any way? No. No. Not one bit. There will be people counting on me to help them survive. Putting myself or them at risk is not on my to-do list. Susie says, live like the Vikings. Learn everything you can about everything that you need to use, including making weapons. Solid comment. Appreciate it. We are at the 1 hour mark, and we are not going to be going too much longer. We'll just say that. Daddy's tired. It's been a long day. For those of you who got the pre-order books, yeah, all those pre-orders are getting signed. I signed 500 of them today. It was several hours. Several hours. Oof. How to find and make iron. Find, yes. Make? How you make an atomic element? Are you a personal nova? Franch, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, more super chats. Apparently, I'm not going anywhere just yet. Have you seen the cover of The Economist and the amount of references to the pole shift, blue and red colors? Even the map of the new poles is there. No, I have not seen that. Feel free to email that to me. That sounds cool. Do you think the radiation could change plant DNA and cause vegetation, variegatation or speciation? Also, we can probably assume that the wave will knock trees. I imagine, yeah, there'll be quite a bit of trees that get taken out. There'll probably be some new species as well. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably a little bit of both. I know somebody right now is like, oh my God, what if it makes super weed? Super shrooms. There's a bunch of you who were thinking that. I know. Don't lie. You suggest a danger composed of a chain of connected events, dust waves, sun, micronova, earth crust, waves, radiation. How would you imagine an advanced civilization deals with such danger? Leave the solar system until it's over. I see the inertial wave and sloshback waves scarred the mountains from the coast to the Rockies. Member since 2014. Godspeed, Ben. Happy Thanksgiving. And same to you, Michael. Appreciate that. Yeah. That question about the advanced civilizations is a fun thought experiment. Do not for a moment think we are an advanced civilization. We are not. Why is the news just now talking about solar interference with the grid? Well, did you read the article? It's talking about a hypothetical one, not something that's actually happened. If contrails are fact, and it's barium and aluminum particles being layered on the planet, how would that affect the planet's response to all disaster events? First of all, the vast majority of what you see in the sky is not barium and aluminum. It's water vapor and cloud seeding stuff. The aluminum and the other scary things that they would be spraying are up in the stratosphere. And I have two things to say about that. One, you cannot see an airplane in the stratosphere. So if you can see the airplane, no, that's not chemtrails. It might be cloud seeding, yes, but that's not chemtrails. Two, you have no idea how much data is gathered from rain, snow, ground. If they were doing it significantly, we would see it in the amount that's actually accumulating. Here's the other thing. At a stratospheric injection, it will go around the world at least twice before reaching the ground, which means whoever's spraying is spraying themselves and is spraying their children, and they know it. They're taking a calculated risk. Keep that in mind. It also wouldn't change the response to the disaster events at all because they're spraying aluminum oxide, metal oxides, which are not conductive. Oxides are insulators. Namaste. Isn't there a way to calculate the micronova time frame based on the amount of galactic dust that the sun has passed through versus its luminosity? If we had perfect and constantly updated data on that, yes, sure, probably. We don't have that kind of data. I like where your head's at, though. That's a thinking man's question I just read out from Nathaniel. That's a thinking man's question. Fortunately, there's no way to answer it. Hey, have you read U.S. Bill 4488, a bill for catastrophic risk? Your thoughts? It's not the only one. They've done things like this here and there. I've heard that this one was a bit more interestingly worded. My faith in the government to pull anything off that's actually beneficial to us is zero. I have no faith in them whatsoever. Good question, though, Liz. Jonathan says, I love your work, but talking excessively about preparing for an event in 2040 when there is so much to survive before that event arrives make you look a bit like controlled opposition. Just saying. Jonathan, having your bitch in my DMs every day makes you look like a bitch. The fuck are you even saying? Everybody call Jonathan a bitch in the chat. Makes you look like a bitch. How much? You think you're going to get ready for this event in a day, in a weekend? This will take years of getting supplies, finding the right location, building your shelter and your underground thing, gathering all of the books and the knowledge and the practice you're going to need. If you have not started today, if you have not started a year ago for something in 2049, you are behind. Sack up. How many people are calling him a bitch in the chat right now? How much warning might we get when a kill shot is headed our way? That's tough. A lot of it'll depend on when it happens. So, for example, if I pass out cuddling with my little ones at night, and 5 minutes later, an X200 gets unleashed, we're going to lose electricity worldwide before I wake up in the morning. If I'm awake, I'm going to be screaming as loud as I possibly can. 1 second. Jimmy Corsetti from Bright Insight just texted me. Yeah, man, do you want to set a specific time? I really like Jimmy. He's a cool dude. Will direction of tilt change wave size? Maybe. To be honest, the worst waves in terms of the initial inertial waves will be hitting from the Gulf of Mexico and from the Atlantic on the eastern and central states, and then on northern Australia. In terms of the sloshback, the Indian subcontinent is going to get wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. That's going to be rough. If anybody in India is watching this and understands the progression of things, when the sun turns red, just head for the Himalayas as fast as you can. Godspeed. All right, making sure I didn't miss anything. I missed something. What would what would a solution where you do not leave the solar system look like, where you would focus on the chain? Man, what do you do against a micronova event? I don't know what it looks like. Tell you what, why don't you go try to find an advanced civilization and ask their advice? We are ants on this planet. I have absolutely no idea. Sorry, I'm real sick today. You're good, Kara. I guess where I got confused is with the assumption the whole Earth floods during the flip, other than highest areas. Um, no, there will be some areas that are spared from it. I mean, a lot of floods. I mean, pretty much every continent will have severe flooding, but not everywhere. I mean, I would say between 30 and 60% of the world will not be flooded. Now, that's a wide range, yeah. Oh, I must have scrolled too far. Did we call that guy a bitch in the chat? I don't know. If we did, I missed it. I was trying to stay focused on the questions. Why won't you please address scalar waves? Dude. All right. Since you're 10 years behind, how about you do some research on scalar waves yourself that doesn't come from a crazy psychopath on the internet? Take what that crazy psychopath, who I'm sure you've heard about, says. Then go read the actual science and then realize that the truth is somewhere in the middle. That's my good advice for everything. Wait. And by the way, the caps lock key is over to the side in between the tab and the shift button. Whew. Jane, harsh. Like it though. Bro, the sun appears red twice a day. The f you mean? I mean when it looks red at the top of the sky. Varkin, I can see you haven't done your homework. So, Varkin, shut up. Look down below the video in the description box. Find the Earth disaster video and the solar micronova video and do your homework instead of running your mouth like an ignoramus, because you just told 1,700 people that you're lazy, that you haven't done your homework, that you're an arrogant prick. Bzz. Getting salty. Didn't want this to happen. Getting salty. Yes, there was something bitchy about his bull statement, Commander. Makes you wonder with the thinning of the herd, Build Back Better and the Great Reset, they know and are reducing numbers for easier management. Yes, they do not want a major battle for power and resources when this ends. They're going to try to survive best they can, and they do not want competition for power in the aftermath. Good call. Corvus, thank you for the hot dog. Appreciate that. What is the mechanism that makes the Earth tilt back the other direction at the next 12,000 year event? I mentioned this earlier in the show. Right now, the ice is here. When the crust unlocks, it'll go like this. The crust will relock. More ice will accumulate at the poles, and when it gets unlocked again, those will shift to the equator. You could also have learned that from watching the videos or reading one of my books, aka doing the homework. Barton is not Jimmy's brother, huh? What are the effects on the moon with the pole shift and micronova? I don't know. Haven't been up there to do some geologic testing. Don't be mean, just ignore those who ain't serious. But this is so much more fun. This is so much more fun. Woosah. How come I don't like Graham Hancock? He knows for a fact it is not an impactor. He knows it's the sun, and he continues to push this same level of garbage while also, when asked privately, if you manage to get in his email or meet him in person, you ask him about me, he will say very, very insulting and false things. But he knows it's not an impactor. He knows it's a cycle. He knows it's the sun. And the reason he doesn't dive in to those facts is because he's still trying to sell his books. He doesn't want his entire decade's worth of career to have been wrong, where he's been pushing the same story over and over again. Ego. And yes, I know Jimmy likes Graham, and that's fine. They can be friends. Jimmy also is pretty convinced that the sun's got something to do with it, though. Jimmy's a smart guy. Ben, we love the salt. Thank you. I like the salt too, but I was trying to avoid it today. All right. When will the pole shift happen? Daniel, this is an advanced questions only. Do your homework. It's free. Highly condensed. It's free. Look right below the video in the description box. And Stormy's spamming the chat with a link to the Earth disaster documentary anyway. Thank you, Stormy. You can't miss it. You literally can't miss it. Corvus, thank you again. Jimmy Corsetti is a giant spaz. Divine King, guess who can't comment on my channel anymore? Isn't that funny? Another one bites the dust. Don't worry, Nebulosity and Stormy. I sniped that one. Woosah is right, Serena. All right. So are we out of advanced questions? That's fine. It's been an hour and 20 minutes, which is plenty of time anyway. All right, guys. Well, oh, Varkin's back. You're a big salty meanie. Well, at least you're taking it in good humor. Seriously, though, do that homework, man. It's free. It's condensed. I spent a lot of time crafting that for people to get all the information they need quickly. It's well worth it. And yes, Stormy is happily spamming the chat over and over again with links to that homework. Do it. Do the homework. If you'd like, you could buy one of my books and give me money and figure it out that way, or you could watch the free stuff I made for you. So before Micronova, would you focus on the dust? Could you make an analogy with the ship trying to evade an incoming wave by making a hole in it? What sort of technology do you believe we have as a species? Rico, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Joe, another teal pair. It's fantastic. Thank you for the desalinization. Henry, thank you for the Credence quote. Appreciate it. Okay, guys. Well, man, oh, look at this. I seem to indicate that I'm going to be going somewhere, and all of a sudden we have a bunch of beyond beginner questions. How you like that? Susie, thank you for the teal pair. I appreciate that. All right, guys, I will see you in the morning for the daily show. Denver sucks. Be safe, everyone.